Well, peatland is not a nice environment to live. It's not only neglected, but it's politically and management-wise, it's considered as wasteland or marginal land. So that's why, from the environmental point of view, it has been undervalued. And now, when people are talking about carbon stock, climate change, we suddenly stricken that this is a huge asset for us to think about conserving peatland, because there are so much carbon stored underneath in the form of organic materials. As everybody knows, the political move towards protecting peatland is very significant by issuing the presidential instruction for the moratorium on primary forests and peatland, simply because it is now considered as important ecosystem to protect, and a lot of people think about how to quantify the amount of carbon underneath the peat forest. So it has a very large attention at the moment, not only from the local community, but also the local companies and also international community to try to protect peatland. Out of 20 million hectares of peatland, half of it is already been licensed for concession to be converted into pulpwood plantation or oil palm plantation. So the issue is how to preserve the existing one, which is still not licensed, but also the opportunity to manage properly for those areas which are already licensed. The main factor which are affecting the emission of greenhouse gases in peatland is the excessive drainage of the peat itself, because when it gets dry, the organic material will be oxidized, and that's the time when you start to emit carbon dioxide from organic material, and that can be managed in terms of water table management. So even if the peatland is converted, if the water table is managed properly, we have a good chance to reduce the emission. So forested peatland containing something like 200 ton of carbon above the ground, but the amount of carbon below the ground is 5 times higher, because it has been accumulated for thousands of years. So removal of above ground biomass does not mean only removing 1/5 of it, but you also remove the source of organic material, and then it tends to be drained, and you will lose more because of the drainage. And it's even worse if you employ or use fire to clear the land, so the emission will be faster and bigger. The scientific community is eager to provide information about emission factor from peatland, both drained peatland as well as re-wetted peatland. So if you have an option to re-wet or manage water table, you need to know the emission factor. And that kind of information is needed globally. So we also interact with the international or intergovernmental panel for climate change, who is now trying to develop a methodology for the greenhouse gas inventory, especially for wetland, including peatland.